This is a podcast called 25 Whistles, talking football, and they all wear a whistle. Yeah, it's stupid, but what did you expect? It's a podcast called 25 Whistles.
25 Whistles.
Brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings app and use the code BobbySports to get in on the action. Let's go.
A little weak.
Yeah, it's Pro Bowl. Who cares?
Okay.
Yeah.
Pro Bowl week. So Eddie and we're going to throw to us because Eddie and I are in California on a little setup that we're recording out there. And let's throw to us now.
I hope it works.
Me too, God. I hope when I go, that
It's a lot
you
of
end
cables,
up hearing
dude.
us. Okay, here we go. We're hoping this works because we've never just taken the kit with us on the road without Mike D. And Mike D is the savior of all good audio.
Wait, what do you mean? No, it's working. I see it moving.
I don't trust that 100% what you see is the reality and somehow it's going to get back. But we are in Pebble Beach. Well, we're in Monterey.
Carmel by the sea.
Man, it's all so fancy here in every way, all the towns.
Carmel by the sea.
Well, I walk around today, I was like, is this caramel?
I think you're talking about the candy.
Well, I did ask for sweet tea at a seafood. No, I wouldn't say fancy, but legit play. I don't know. What do you call it?
A very nice seafood restaurant.
But it was like not just nice, like fancy. It wasn't even fancy. It was, what do you call something when it's like pure, real? What kind of restaurant?
Authentic.
That's it. Thank you. I'm so tired. Eddie and I have been on the golf course since 6 o'clock this morning for 3 days, and it's the greatest thing ever, but I'm also tired. I've also been really sick for a bit. So let me just start with a couple things in my mind right now. What I want to get to definitely is Tom Brady retirement. Also, it's the Pro Bowl this weekend, so almost DGAF about football.
Mm-hmm.
And on my Twitter feed now, I get fights all the time. You get on Twitter at all?
Kind of. Not really.
I get videos of people fighting all the time.
Why? Are you like in an algorithm?
I don't like watching fights because for the most part, I don't like watching people get punched.
Yeah.
And I don't like people just fighting. It makes me uncomfortable. It made me uncomfortable in school. I was someone that was like, oh, fight, let's go watch. But I watch them, and there's this account called Fight Haven, and it pops up. I'm clicking into it now, so it's going to give me them again for sure for a while.
So you're not following them. They just pops
I don't
up.
follow them, but it pops up in my For You, which at first I hated on Twitter because I was like, why does Twitter need a For You?
Right.
And it's actually pretty good because it's the same stuff that I follow, just a couple other things that are like it, and I like it. And so, but they keep giving me fights from Fight Haven. And what I like about these fights is it's always somebody doing something mean or dumb or picking on and then getting their butt whooped. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like a superhero movie.
Yeah.
And so this guy...
But so you do like watching them?
I don't like to really watch the bodies, the fists flop into the faces and that physical part, man. But there was one customer in a restaurant I'm watching right now. He goes in, he's pissed about something. And he's like yelling at the store owner. Store owner's probably 2/3 of what the customer is size-wise.
Okay.
And the store owner's like, hey, man, all good. Let's get fixed up. And the guy starts to be really aggressive and walks back into the kitchen. And so the store owner's like, no, you can't go back there. And he shoves the store owner. Store owner still cool, chill. Is shorter, skinnier cook, chef, waiter, I don't know, comes back and it's like, hey, there's no need for this. The customer, he's huge, and like Tommy Bahama shorts and a t-shirt, takes a big right cross swing at him. And the owner just takes about a half head back, and the guy misses. Well, he just, in his momentum, the owner throws him in like the big sink.
Yeah.
And then the other guy comes in, and they just start pounding this dude.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Shouldn't be complaining about your french fries being cold. But I don't like fights, but I like it when people get their just due.
Yeah, there's always better when like they deserve it. Yes.
And
I agree with that.
There's the other one I was watching a minute ago on the toilet there was this, he looked like he's about 15, and he was about half the size as, when you look at that, it makes me feel like we're not on. We're not recording.
We're on. I'm just double checking it.
Oh my God. And so this guy's probably, he looks like a senior in high school, and he's picking on the kid, and he's like choking him, and he chokes him and shoves him back, chokes him again, shoves him back, and this kid is like, all right, so the big kid then takes him and shoves him to the ground hard, and this little guy I don't know what he does kickboxing wise. Does some sort of Mortal Kombat ground spin, wipes the dude out, kicks him in the face. Now, do you remember how to his hand did like the claw when he had a concussion?
Yes.
It's what happens to the big guy on the ground. He gets whooped, and the little kid is little 14. It's much smaller, standing over him going, now what would you like me to do? Now what would you like me to do? I mean, and the big dude is out. And so I don't like fights, but I do like justice.
Yeah.
And so they give it to me all the time. And I just got a bunch more because I keep telling you about it.
Yeah.
And I've been on this one video for like
and it's listening
15
to
minutes.
us talk about this.
Anyway, so For You page good, Fight Haven good, lots of golf good, Brain a little tired.
Yeah.
But we are in Pebble Beach playing golf in the Pebble Beach ProAm. We played all the practice rounds this week and have a lot of stories and a lot of notes to tell you about. But I'm going to start first with Tom Brady retiring, which it just popped up on my feed today under Fight Haven, and then he got beat up by
But that's
Giselle,
okay, because he deserved it.
Yeah, Giselle went crossbody on him, and I was like, you know what? Justice is served.
That's right.
But no, he gets on and says his stuff, and that's it. Here's why I liked it. Nobody broke it. Schefter or Rappaport didn't break it. Then there wasn't speculation waiting for a message from him or a cryptic tweet, or they're not going to talk to Teddy Bruschi about what he thinks. He's like, hey, I'm good. Basically, it's been awesome. Owns every record.
Sure.
He even has the most fantasy points ever.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool record.
Yes. So good for Tom Brady. I did not think he would retire this year. I thought he'd go one more. And I think, like we always do with the greatest, when we live with them, we begin to take them for granted because it's normal. Anything normal we take for granted because it's every day. Normal every day. We start to go, oh, this is every day, so it's normal. In 5, 7, 10 years, we're going to get to go, like I did when I was very young, like you did. Oh, I watched Michael Jordan play. Mm-hmm. And that'll be Tom Brady 20 years from now. Like I watched Tom Brady play.
And we took it for granted.
Yeah, for sure. Watched him win all those Super Bowls. We expected the Patriots to be what they were. Brady gets hurt, and they're not. He
really made winning Super Bowls look easy.
Just even getting to them, all of that. Yeah, you just there was an expectation. There was an expectation of greatness that he set.
Yeah. And
with that, there was an expectation that once he reproved his greatness, he was going to let you know he wasn't expected to be great based on how much he got to play at Michigan, where he was drafted, that picture at the pre-draft workout, the Indianapolis Combine, thank you, little brain fry, where he's just no shirt and boxers, and it looks like the Long John Silver's guy.
Yeah, he looked like just a dude.
So all of that. So it was just that cycle of he wins big, he continues to win big, he reminds you he shouldn't be winning big, and it's almost like, well, if Tom Brady could do it, and I don't think this is true, I can do it. But it was cool to see somebody drafted so late, somebody that didn't really get a big run at starting quarterback in Michigan. It's awesome. So he's the best ever. I'm sure we'll do a longer thing at some point. He's the best ever. And what do you say? And he retired today, and there's no drama about it. And I can respect that as well.
Because there was drama before.
Last time.
And he did say that. He's like, I'm not going to do it. Last time, you can only write off once, right? And
that's not true. Brett Favre wrote off like 9 times.
I like what he said, though. Like, I like that he just said, you know what? Like, all the drama behind the first time around. Not going to do that. He did say this, you are the first to know. Do you think he really meant that? Like, I know Schefter didn't break it. I know he said that. But do you really believe that? Like, I'm going to let my people know on social media. I'm going to go by the beach, sit by these condos, and talk to the fans, and they're going to be the first to know.
At that level, if you tell anyone that has connections, and those connections have connections and relationships, even his agent, I would be afraid that what would happen like last time happens
all
again.
Over again. Yeah.
So this is a world built on relationships, not just football, not just NFL. The world, who gets hired for this job, and so I think he probably had some people, and he was like, man, I'm really nearing a decision. And yes, I do think that him getting on that was letting everybody know at the same time. Even the people that knew he was about to make a decision. I think people knew he was about to make his decision, but I don't think he wanted that to happen again because then it's just a bad look. And then you're remembered always for being that Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Because that's our final but most distinct memory is him deciding if he's coming back, him being in the airport, being chased over the top by helicopters. He's going to the Minnesota Vikings. It was like OJ.
It's ridiculous.
But it was ridiculous so many times that like that's what you think about now. So yes, I do. I think there were people knowing he was about to make a decision, and maybe they knew he leaned, but not enough to be able to go and call one of the guys, Schefter, Rappaport, because they would go unnamed sources say Brady's done.
Oh, for sure.
And you can be an unnamed source, but yes, I mean, and there are times it happens. I'll give you a story that I don't think I've ever told before. Similarly, and I'm not comparing the two.
You've retired before?
7 times actually.
Oh.
This week.
No,
Every day.
That was just a golf round.
And
That doesn't count.
okay. So one of my dearest friends was a professional tennis player. His name is Andy Roddick, and Andy was number 1 in the world for a while. He won U.S. Open, went to the Wimbledon finals so many times. He was America's best tennis player forever. He was like in the top 10 for like longer than any other player at the time. Whatever, some crazy stats, right? And there wasn't really much debate as to when he was going to retire, like it's going to happen now or it's going to happen in 6 months. But he was getting a little older in the tennis world, and I'm going to speak for him. I'm going to be wrong in some of these places. And Andy was really strong, and where he could just bully people at times with his strength and athleticism that way.
Yeah.
Some of the other guys were getting not as strong, but they were getting strong, but they also played a different style of tennis, which is why Andy never got far in the French because you had to be able to move.
Oh, yeah.
Like Nadal
style.
always in the French because he is all over the
Fast.
place. And that clay takes some of the oomph out of the ball.
Yeah.
So anyway, all the physics of tennis aside, it's just a random morning. I'm just going to assign a day to this story on a Monday, and I get a call from Andy who, when he was in the States, not playing tennis all over the world, we hung out like really good amount, or we made a point to just see each other because, you know, I don't have a huge friendship group. I keep really close, and neither did he, frankly. And he calls me and he goes, "Hey, man, I'm retiring." I'm like, "Wait, I didn't think he was retiring. I knew in the next 5 years." And I'm like, "What do you mean you're retiring?" He goes, "I'm retiring. I just woke up this morning and I'm going to go play the U.S. Open. It's my final one. And I just want you to know before I tell anybody else, because I'm going to go out and tell the media now." And I'm sure he told his mom and his dad, but
Sure.
I think I was in that first little block of friends he called. He goes, "Hey, it'd be really cool if you came up and went to this tournament with me or watched my final." So I was like, "Oh, obviously." And then I didn't even have any money. It's not like now where I'm wildly loaded, you know?
So loaded.
Yeah. So I was in Austin, got a flight, went up, but he didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe Tom Brady also just decided.
I see what you're saying.
This is my point. Maybe he just kind of woke up and went, "Yeah, I think I'm done.
It seemed like it.
I think I'm done." And because I saw that happen to Andy, who was elite in his sport. So that's what makes me think, I don't think that's all like a PR thing. It could be a little bit of a PR thing where he doesn't want to go out remembered like that. But I think it could have been him going, "I got to make a decision." And he just wakes up and is like, "I don't want to do it again."
And you know what? Like, it's really good that he did that instead of waiting 2 more seasons and having 3 bad seasons.
But I don't think he would have. I think he had another couple. Listen, I think if he goes somewhere with a good offensive line where he can run play action,
You think he could have been good again?
I think he could have been pretty. I think he could have been a top 15 quarterback.
It's just tough because you don't know that.
It's true, but you don't either. And there were times this season when they did get their running game going, because again, Brady's not mobile. Never has been mobile, by the way. It's not like the old age thing has made him
never
not mobile. Maybe a little less not mobile, but with Brady, if you don't have a running game, if Blunt's not there, if they're not getting 4 yards a pop, it does not open play action, which opens Brady's skill set completely. When Brady's running play action, he's got the defense at the palm of his hands because they've got to respect the run, and he still had the arm. Nobody ever questioned his arm.
Yeah.
So I think he had another. But what's he going to do? Go to San Francisco? Not now.
No.
Especially, I mean, it's a UCL tear for Purdy. One where it's one of the UCL injuries. They're continuing to go. Maybe by the time this comes out, they'll know what's up specifically, but it could be 6 months out, it could be less. And it's not a full reconstruction, they're saying, which would be real bad, and you'd probably have to miss next season or enough of it to matter. I think Purdy's probably the guy, and I'll tell you why, because I used to say he had to get to a Super Bowl to for sure be the guy. I think because he got hurt early, and first of all, had a great season. Won all those games in a row as a rookie. We know the story. Tom Brady's story. Mr. Relevant. The fact that he played so well, and the only time he didn't win is when he got injured in the first 6 or 7 plays. And then, now that we know how bad, he came back into the game.
He did.
With a torn...
Knowing he was hurt.
I know. And then that's like, well, they're not throwing. Bro's got one arm.
Dude, the fact that he was on that field taking snaps.
And it shows you, like, the dedication that he has. You know, because I think you said it. You saw McCaffrey throw a pass.
Once I saw McCaffrey warming up, I'm like, we're in trouble.
Didn't you say, because again, I didn't get to watch all of it because we were listening to it out with our first day here or watching it in a bar TV. I didn't see him like looking at playbook pages.
Oh yeah, dude. They had the offensive coordinator had the playbook out. McCaffrey was looking through it, kind of almost like counting 2 fingers, 3 fingers, pointing to the left, pointing to the right. I mean, cramming for the 5 plays that he was about to go in and do. Crazy. I've never seen that before in my life.
Like he's got a physics final in 2 hours.
Like
his tutor, okay, look, head. Man.
So much, Bones, that they had 2 helmets. They had his running back helmet and they had his quarterback helmet.
They did.
And they were literally changing the face masks.
I did not know that.
Yes, and they were changing the face mask, being like, all right, this is going to be your helmet when you go in as quarterback. Because you're not going to be able to see with your running back helmet.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
And San Francisco, really good team. It sucks that they lost like that.
Yeah.
Because they didn't even have a shot.
Screw San Francisco. I don't like them, but yes.
Yeah, they didn't have a shot.
Sucks.
So that's our football version of this. Now, I've taken a bunch of notes from over the past few days. I'm going to tell you guys, first of all, a bit how we got here and exactly where we are and set the scene. So we're in Pebble Beach. Well, the courses are in Pebble Beach, California. There's an event called the AT&T Pebble Beach ProAm, which they bring out celebrities and they team them with pros, and you just try to play well. And there's a whole system based on what your handicap is, and I don't have a very good handicap. It's fine. It's not good. I'm not what you'd say. I'm a good golfer. I'm an average golfer. Occasionally I can play, and occasionally I can hit it well, but I'm okay. And so a few months ago, and everything will be out by the time this comes out, so I can tell the whole story. A few months ago, I was like, hey, you should come out and be the alternate, because it was way late. They'd already invited everybody, but they were like, we want you to come out. And Ben Rector, who's a really good friend of mine, was the alternate last year, and he played. And so I called Ben. I was like, hey, should I be there? He's like, yes. It's an awesome week. You should be the alternate because there's a good shot you'll get to play. And so I was like, great. So I commit, and by the alternate, it means I'm coming out, playing all the practice. I didn't even know I needed a caddy at this point. I'm just coming up with me and Caitlin and I. And so I was coming out, and we're here staying in the same house with Jake, Owen, and Erica, because they are like our close life friends. And so Jake's like, I'm going out. He plays in it every year. He's the one that got me like the connections to even get here. And he's like, we'll just stay in the same house and I'll show you. So whatever. So if Jake and Eric are going to be there, let's go. So I said, yep. Do some promo work for them. I'm super excited just to get invited. We are ready to go. We got everything booked. They say, then Jake goes, oh, you need a caddy. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like one from the clubhouse? He goes, no, you should bring somebody that you think would be, hello? Come down if you want. It's like somebody at the top of the stairs.
Steps?
It sounds like, well, everybody's upstairs, and I think everybody wants to come be on the podcast. But I know this will be a 9-hour podcast. Eddie's like, we should get Jake. And I'm like, well, I just had Jake for an hour on the Bobbycast. I've been with Jake for 4 days. And I know, yes, it'd be great, but it'd be 3 hours long.
Jake could talk sports.
For sure, but it'd be 3 hours long.
That's true.
Dude, Florida State, right?
Dude.
Work done.
Tom Brady, dude.
Yeah, for sure he could. I'm losing my voice already, as you can see. So so I say to Eddie, you want to go on caddy for me? You have to be gone for like 6 days.
That's tough.
Which you have 4 kids and a wife.
I do have 4 kids.
And we both knew the answer was probably no. Mm-hmm. And you said, I'll ask, but I'm going to wait for the right spot to ask.
You have to wait for those right moments when you ask for a big ask like this.
And waited a couple days. So much so that I said, dude, do you have an answer? You're like, haven't had time yet. Give me till tomorrow. I'm like, all right. And then you said, she didn't say no. And I'm like, wow, that's
Those
awesome.
were her words. She's like, I'm not saying no. Just give me a few days to think about it.
So then Eddie's like, yeah, I'm in. So I'm like, this is amazing. So it's Eddie and I here. And there's celebrities everywhere. And it's not like Nashville famous, where everybody's like, hey, good to see you, even when they don't care. And some of your friends, some of you aren't, but you still like nice. This is like people that are famous, and they are secure in what they do, and they're just awesome. Everybody's been so nice.
Everyone.
Because nobody feels threatened about any, even bad golf. Me. I was talking to Eric Church today, and I was like, I have to leave, and I'll tell us 22nd. And he goes, oh man, I guess it's okay. I suck anyway. So I told him. He goes, you probably don't suck. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm like a 12 or a 13 handicap. And he goes, oh man. I said, see? He goes, no, I'm a 15.
Yeah.
So that was pretty funny. I like insulted him accidentally. So, but I tell you, Eric and I talk for longer as like normal people today than I've ever talked to him my whole life in Nashville, because it's always based around something in Nashville.
Yeah, it's a different setting here.
So, and everybody's got like a golf. We're all excited to like play golf at nice places because we're all just kids still.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I wrote some notes down. I'm going to bring it up, and then we'll talk about each of them.
Okay.
Ron Rivera.
Oh my gosh.
Ron Rivera.
He's a large man.
Riverboat Ron.
Riverboat Ron.
Is now the head football coach of the Washington Commanders. And we're in this room, and we all wear name tags. It doesn't matter if you are Ray Romano, who
everyone knows.
or if you're me, who nobody
No one
knows.
knows.
Right. Everybody wears them, and nobody's like, I ain't wearing a lanyard. It's because it's just the rule.
Yeah.
You just wear it, and even the people that are working are like, I have to do my job. I'm sorry. They're like, I know who you are, Mr. Obama, but I need to see your lanyard.
Okay, you're good to go
Yes.
in.
So I'll post pictures of it. He's wearing his lanyard, and I'm like, hey, Mr. Rivera, my name's Bobby. Just want to say, love. I didn't say like love how you coach, but I was just like, love the integrity that you show and what you're known for. And I have friends that know him a little bit. And he was like, oh man, wow, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And he then asked me a question, which means he's not bothered by me saying what, because even if he's bothered, he's going to be nice. And if he doesn't ask a question, he's like, oh man, thanks. Yeah, cool. And then he's waiting for you to say, can I take a picture? Or he's waiting for you to leave. But that didn't happen. He was like, oh yeah. He said, where do you live? Told him. And then Eddie walks up right about that time. And Eddie's wearing a cowboy hat.
I'm always wearing a cowboy hat.
He immediately goes to Eddie's cowboy hat.
he looked at me almost like, what the crap are you wearing? Like, who are you?
Did you think about that as you were walking up to him? Because I didn't either.
No, not at all. I forgot I had a Cowboys hat on. But he looked at me like, like who? Almost squinty-eyed. Like, who is this guy?
Funny. Like who is this guy?
Who is this guy?
Yep.
And I'm just coach. It's one of my favorite things in the world to call a coach. Like, like I don't need to call them by their name. It's like, coach, good to meet you. And he shakes my hand, but he shakes my hand bones and he just like keeps the shake going. And then looks at my face, looks at my hat and says, I don't like that hat of yours. And I forgot.
I forgot you had the hat on too.
I forgot I had the hat on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, Commanders, Cowboys, of course.
He was so nice.
I was shocked at how much information he was telling you.
Oh yeah, so I say, hey, what are you guys gonna do about quarterback next year?
Like you
just
asked
seeing
that
if
question.
he would say it. Because how often am I gonna talk to him? I'm never gonna see him again. So I'm just like, hey, what's up with the quarterback? And do you remember what he said?
Yeah. Who was he? No, I don't really remember.
He was talking about, if I'm correct here, Sam Howell. And he was like, we really like how Sam played last year. Let me make sure it was Sam before I just start saying stupid stuff. And so he was like, yeah, he looked great at the end of I think it was Sam, because Sam would be the rookie quarterback who's third string.
Yeah.
And so, because it was Carson Wentz, then Heineke, then back to Carson Wentz, then Sam Howell played the last game. And against Dallas, maybe I think Sam Howell played. Did the last game? Did he not?
I don't think so.
Let me check it out. But I'm on my phone, so I don't have Mike D looking up.
I know.
So I'm just like, oh, man, it's awesome because, he spins the ball so well. We've, all season he's been growing. He just starts laying it down.
Yeah.
And I wish I had hit record on my phone. We just played it on this.
Yeah, I mean, he was giving you the insides of it.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I really thought about him. This is what we plan to do with him. Like all of this stuff is like pretty cool, man.
And I'm not going to share it all, but let me just tell you, I know.
Of course not. You do know.
I know exactly what's up. Okay, so if I go to the Commanders and Cowboys box score, okay, that was a Wentz game and not a good Wentz game. Mm-hmm. But which one was it though? October 2nd. So there was a later game there was a Commander Dallas game later than October 2nd.
Do you think Sam played on that one?
I think it could be the second game. So anyway, we're going to keep going here. But he was also quite muscular for a guy who's like 60.
He's a big dude.
Yeah.
Big dude.
So that was awesome. I also have just learned, I just go up to people now.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
And like he enjoyed talking to you, I think. And what was funny too, later in the night, there's some bands came up, like Darius Rucker was playing or whatever. So I went up kind of just to get video, and I'm standing right behind him. I didn't even realize I was standing right behind him where he was sitting. And he turns around and he looks at me again. He says, "You're just too close to me, man."
Did.
He says, "You're too close to me with that hat. Back off."
Okay, week 18 they played.
Sam did?
Well, week 18 the Cowboys and Commanders. So
Okay,
that wasn't it.
Yeah.
So,
that was a trash game, so yeah, probably.
So let's see. The Dallas Cowboys. Too much to play for. Commanders won.
Yes.
Offensive spotlight.
I still think that was Heineke.
Nope, Sam Howell. Washington
Really?
quarter. Yeah, I'm right. Dude, I've done this to you twice where I believed you.
Well, but I didn't.
No, but you
say,
also did
I didn't
it.
say 100%.
You also did it on Joe Montana.
Oh, that was stupid. Oh my god.
Washington quarterback Sam Howell played in his first NFL start, completing 11-19 for 169, a touchdown. It was Sam Howell. Okay. Anyway.
Good job.
Thank you, Eddie. So, all of that to say, he was awesome. I'm going to mark it off my list.
Okay.
I'd like to tell you the story about how I met Alex Smith. Now, a little bit of Alex Smith, played football at Utah, was a really good quarterback over there. Went to the NFL, played for the Chiefs, had a played for more than just the Chiefs, but had a bad leg injury.
Bad injury.
If he'd walk again, much less play. Came back, was comeback player of the year, I believe. Real inspirational story, could be a Disney movie type stuff, like real injury, bad injury. Well, I see Ben Rector, and I was going to go up because I wore compression. It's really cold up here in the morning and at night, like really cold. And so I wore like Under Armour compression pants under my golf pants so I wouldn't freeze. I did it day one, but it was like 3 layers. It was underwear, compression pants, and then pants. So my pants were a little weirdly tightened. And so I was like, I'm just wearing the compression pants, no underwear. Big mistake because that spot in between my N and my BH,
Yep.
it like rubbed it raw and cut it. It was bleeding from those compression pants rubbing it back and forth. Why does he been there talking to somebody who I think could be Charles Kelly or somebody tall? And I walk up and I'm like, dude, I cut my nuts in the middle of my nuts so bad. And dude turns his head and it's Alex Smith, the quarterback for. And he's like half smiling, like he doesn't know if I'm joking or not. And I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to interrupt this. I'm sorry. Hey, how's it going, man? I'm Bobby. I just walked off. And so I saw Alex again today because we were down doing this golf thing. And I said, hey, man, I'm Bobby. I told you about my nuts yesterday. He goes, yeah, it's a really cool way to say hello. And and I said, well, dude, sorry about that. He goes, are you kidding? He said, when you left, I was like, that's an interesting guy. And so, but that's how I met Alex Smith.
Wow.
And
Did you talk to him at all after that?
Today? Yeah,
No?
we talked a lot today
Okay.
because we were, and I'll get to it, we were in the finals of the hole in one,
challenge.
closest to the whole championship. So, okay, Alex Smith, awesome. Jason Bateman. Saw Jason Bateman. No, Eddie spotted him first and said, there's Jason Bateman sitting right there. And I was like, that's
by
Jason
himself?
Bateman? Yeah, by himself. His like long hair coming out of his hat. I was like, Jason Bateman? He goes, yeah. I was like, oh, wow, that is.
And if you had any doubt, again, he had the name tag, Jason Bateman, with,
Sure
with
did.
like a picture on it.
Lanyard.
Just in case you don't know who that is.
So I didn't go up to him then because we were listening to the rules of the event. And we hung around. We were just talking with everybody. And we were at the very front. And he was talking to somebody, one of the volunteers. And she went to get him something. I'm just standing there. You're standing there. I was like, hey, Jason, how's it going, man? He goes, hey, what's going on? He doesn't know who I am, but he's also trying to figure out if he should, like, if he's met me before at one of these, because everybody just looks like normal golfing people. We're all in basically nerd uniforms, like golf uniforms.
Just bought.
Yes, all new, of course.
It smells
it's
like
the
right out of
first
the
day
bag.
of school here. We all got our new school clothes. And I'm like, hey, I'm Bobby Bones. He's like, oh, hey, good to meet you, man. It says first time here, and he says, and then it just turns into, I say, hey, did you play today? And he's like, yeah. He asked Eddie, how'd you play it? And we're just sitting there talking about golf. As like normal people that have played golf 20 times together or have known each other, and 5 minutes is a long time to just sit and talk. We probably talked for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he was so nice. We didn't talk about anything.
Nothing about
Ozark
No.
I even forgot he was in Ozark.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big one that I think of. But yeah, no, it wasn't about what he does or who he is. It was just normal conversation.
And so he was my wife loved Jason Bateman and Will Arnett, who I hadn't met yet, but he was there too. They're on the Smartless podcast together. And so Will Arnett coming up later for sure. And so Jason Bateman, and like 3 or 4 times now, we've stopped and talked to each other.
Oh yeah, we met him the first time, and then throughout the week, like you see him. What's up, dude? How'd you guys play today? You good? Like just normal. It feels like camp.
Yeah.
It feels like camp where you're like, oh, I met you the first day. Remember? Yeah. Of course, yes.
Everybody's just like in a place where they feel comfortable being everybody. And so folks are just generous. And it's not like even a Nashville party, like a CMA party, where everybody's looking over their shoulder to see who else is here.
Oh, no.
It's not like that at all.
Not one bit.
And there was one point I was looking for my wife while I was talking to somebody. And I was like, I'm not even going to look for her because I don't want anybody to think I'm doing that thing. Jim Nance.
Oh, my God.
Eddie spotted Jim Nance. Eddie spots everybody.
Of course, because I'm the guy looking around.
And I can't see.
Well, that's true, too.
And Eddie's like, this freaking Jim Nance. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Do you know how I spotted Jim Nance? I heard him. Like, you hear him.
That's
you
funny.
hear him talking. Like, he was probably, 15 yards away from us, but you hear him talking like that.
He does talk like that.
It's not a broadcast. It's normal conversation. He says, I woke up this morning. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, that's Jim Nance. And the first thing I thought was, dang, that's a big dude.
Yeah, he's very tall. For sure.
Like,
he's probably 6'4", 6'3", 6'4".
Which is crazy because he looks tiny next to Romo. So that means Romo's humongous.
So he's there. I don't know how to talk to Jim Nance or if he's even a nice guy.
Yeah.
And he's not playing. He's there to call the event because this is a CBS event. And so he's talking, I believe, to Charles Kelly or somebody that I knew. Maybe Charles walked up when we were talking later. Jim Nance is in a conversation. Had just started with somebody that I knew. So I just kind of slid in. I'm just listening, like nodding my head. Have no idea what they're talking about.
Show up.
I'm halfway through the conversation. I'm just nodding. Oh, yeah. That is crazy, huh? And so this is the part that blew me away. I said, hey, how's it going on, Bobby? I live in Nashville. And so does he, for the most part.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, we were over near...
Jim Nance.
Yeah, Jim Nance. It's like, hey, I was over near your house, whatever, where you live, and we're looking at some property over there, like land, and he was like, oh, yeah. And so he knew I then was for real because I knew exactly where he lived, and I was looking at a piece of land really close to where he was. And so...
But when you introduced yourself, though...
He did say, oh, awesome. It's your first year playing. This is great. Like, he already knew what was up.
Yeah. He did his homework.
Bizarre. In the most awesome way.
And the events on the weekend, this was on a Tuesday. Like, he did his homework on a Tuesday.
And
he won't broadcast till Saturday.
Was ready to go. It was awesome, super kind, loved Jim Nance. My wife just told me to hurry up. So I'm not going to hurry, but I'm going to go a little. But there's also a picture of me and Charles Kelly from Lady A and Jim Nance talking in like a triangle. I don't know what I was saying, but they're both looking at me.
Oh, it's a great picture, dude.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Okay, boom.
Jim Nance.
Paul Gasol. Say something about him.
Oh my God. I mean,
by the way, former Laker.
Former Laker, Paul Gasol. But you see him, and I didn't know who he was. Obviously, I knew he was.
I saw somebody really tall. That's all.
A giant
really
person.
Tall. Yeah.
But I didn't know who it was because, dude, like you said, in golf clothes, everyone kind of looks the same. And I saw his face. Don't know who that dude is. And then eventually, I heard somebody say, like, "Hey, that's Paul Gasol." Oh my gosh! Of course it is. Dude, he's 7'5" or however tall he is. Gigantic. But I haven't talked to him.
I talked to him on the driving range today for a second. Asked him how far something was, and he was like, it's in an accent. He was super nice. But I haven't had a really, and also he's so tall. It's hard to just like casually get into one of his conversations
Because you look up.
because it's like you slide in and you're like, hey, it's like your purpose. You have to be almost too purposeful. Okay, I'll move that one off. Ray Romano, wildly famous, super funny. I guess I met Ray. Did I meet him today for the first time?
I think, yeah, this is the first time we'd seen him.
Was it?
Yeah, today was the first time we'd seen
We've
him.
been at this all day today, so
And it was early today.
Ray and I were on the same par 3 tournament team, and I think we lost, but we still raised like $40,000 or whatever. And he was just super funny and super nice,
Hilarious.
and I don't know, warm. And at one point we were joking. I was like, if I hit this on the green, you have to give me a piggyback ride to the next, because I'd missed the last green by a little bit. And he was like, deal. And then I didn't. And I was like, God dang it.
That would have been great.
But I get Ray Romano. Everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah.
Crazy. Super nice.
And he's so good with people. Like, just in
Yes.
the middle of the round, he's like, who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
You know, like, just like random questions.
Because everybody was from San Francisco up here.
Yes.
He was just giving them crap. So Ray Romano, awesome. Will Arnett, who is the voice of Batman in the Lego movie,
Yes.
obviously. Famous for a lot. The Fox show that was funny. Them and Jason Bateman did together. Super funny. Regardless.
I don't know.
So I didn't really know Will. I didn't talk to him when he was with Jason. But I go and I play. They have Eddie and I were going to go play at a different course today, and I got a call like 5 minutes before, and they're like, "Hey, don't forget, you're the celebrity closest to the hole, then hole-in-one championship." And I was like, "Oh crap!" So we jump in a van real quick, fly
Fast.
across.
We had 5 minutes.
We land, we get there, we jump out, time to go, and Will Arnett's in the first heat. And what you do is there's like 6 or 7 people in each heat. But there are 5 or 6 heats.
There were 5 groups.
Okay. So let's say there's 30 people.
Yeah.
So you have to, of the 6, you have to win yours to get to the finals. And Will Arnett's a pretty good golfer. And funny, but we're down there. I'm not getting in his way. He wins his heat. And he's sitting in this chair where they put the winners. And so I go and I hit pretty good. And
You get 2 shots. You get 2 shots on the first one.
my wife keeps saying, I guess he wants to go to bed.
He's ready to go to bed.
Yeah, that's all right. And so whatever. Wow, I win. I beat Aaron Rodgers. I beat all these people. So
You were the closest to the hole out of your group.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I beat Aaron Rodgers. Suck it,
Amazing.
dude.
And even
You know
Jim
why?
Nance-
You know why?
What?
Because I got the vaccine.
Oh, okay. But even Jim Nance is like, Bobby Bones is the. I mean, dude, it's just amazing. Like, it's like you were playing. It's like you were playing the Masters.
And there was hundreds of people standing around.
Yeah.
And I'd already hit some girl in the face with the ball earlier,
God,
which is on my Instagram.
okay.
Whole different story.
Okay.
Will Arnett and I did an interview together for CBS.
With Amanda Balionis.
Yes, and we're just like, he jumped in. It was funny, and I was like, I was just trying to be funny back. We just go back and forth, back and forth. It was awesome.
I couldn't hear what you guys were saying, but whatever you were saying, he was laughing at.
And then, but he was just so quick and right back at me. I was like, oh God, I got to keep up.
Yeah.
He was awesome. I'm gonna give you 2 more real quick. Steve Young, saw him on the putting green,
This is great.
and maybe Eddie saw him as usual.
Of course. Dude, Steve Young.
And I'm like, oh my God, I was more starstruck maybe than anybody.
That's usually what happens to us.
And so then I just kind of walk over, slide in a group.
He's already talking to someone.
I'm just like, just hey. And so I say, hey, Mr. Young, I'm Bob, a huge fan. And he goes,
You said I'm Bobby Bones.
did I say Bones? Mm-hmm. I said, okay.
I'm Bobby Bones.
And he said, I listen to you every morning. I'm like, shut up. And then he starts like quoting bits.
He's like, dude, the other day you guys were talking about whatever. Like, what?
Steve freaking Young. And I'm like, okay, we talked for a little bit. Super nice. I kept talking to him all day. Other story. We can do some of the stuff later. But before we left, he looked at me and goes, hey, do you mind if I get a picture with you? And I told him, I said, is Ashton coming out with his trucker hat on?
Yeah, where is
bring it
this?
back pumped. Crazy. 'Cause
Crazy, man.
He lives near San Francisco and we're on over
He
there.
takes his daughter to school, he says, and that's what they bond on. He's like, they listen to our show.
So the final thing is I have to leave now. I can't play in the tournament because I have to go to the Grammys, which you may have seen now. And I'm covering hosting the red carpet and pre-show on E and other CBS or NBC properties.
Which is awesome, dude.
Yes, but I have a lot of FOMO because this has been amazing.
Well, yeah.
ATT ProAm, you should come buy tickets next year. Go to the events. We got to the finals, the hole-in-one challenge, and I finished 3rd.
You didn't know there was only going to be one shot.
I
Once it
didn't.
got down to the finals, you had one shot.
One shot. I hit on the green again.
You did.
and finished third, and I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah, dude.
Michael Pena won. And
He's a good golfer. I didn't realize
it's like
he
a
was
3 handicap.
a really good golfer.
So, but we have to go because that's it.
Somebody needs their bedroom.
Yep, 25 whistles is over. Eddie, thank you for setting this up.
Yeah, man.
It'll
I
probably-
hope it works.
Yeah, me too. God, me too. All right, bye, guys.
Just a reminder, 25 Whistles, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings app. Use the code BobbySports to get in on the action. There's so much. I mean, we're talking about the Super Bowl where you have all the fun extra bets. You get the coin.
All the prop bets.
You got the national anthem.
The Gatorade color.
And some people even get crazy and bet on the game.
Wow, that's nuts.
Yes. So, we put an in-game parlay up. So check it out. If you want to take the 25 Whistles parlay, you can check out the DraftKings Sportsbook. It's amazing. New users use the code BobbySports when you download the app. 21 and up in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. See show notes for full details.
So Mike D back here in the 25 Whistle studio. We're about to get into our interview with Coleman Crawley. He's a college basketball handicapper and mid-major basketball reporter who just quit his job. He's traveling around the country going to all these mid-major games leading up to March Madness. Bobby found him super interesting, so wanted to get him on the podcast. He wanted to talk to him about this science project he had when he was 14 years old on sports betting that was deemed unethical. Coleman also made the news after he chased down Big Cat from Barstool outside of their headquarters to try and get his first break into the industry. And you can follow him on Twitter and TikTok at Sharp Shot Select. Here's our interview with Coleman Crawley.
Coleman, how are you, buddy?
Great. How are you?
Good to talk to you. Eddie, I'm glad that you can meet Coleman. I have never met Coleman, and this is my friend Eddie. Coleman's my best friend. We do the show together. I think Eddie's also
Awesome.
going to be
Hey,
super
Eddie.
intrigued by you because I am. But Coleman, I do want to start with this before we talk about what you're doing now. Will you talk about what happened to you when you were 14 years old and you had to come up with a science fair project?
Yes. So I was in 6th grade. I think I may have actually been 12. And I had to come up with a science fair project. I got to be honest, it was actually my dad's idea. But I was the one who executed everything. So I decided for my science fair project to see if I could find trends within data to beat Vegas. So for the first 10 weeks of the college football and the NFL season, I studied all 32 NFL teams in the preseason top 25 in college football. From those 57 teams, I took the 10 biggest outliers and placed fake bets on them over the course of the next 3 weeks. And I went 17-6. So obviously I got a very good grade on my science fair project. When I went on to the regional, they gave me 3rd place. Top 2 moved on to state. They then spoke to me afterwards and said I would have been the clear winner, but they felt it was unethical to move the gambling project on. This was 2008, so different times.
Wow.
His science fair project on sports betting.
Gambling.
Which
I
is
love
awesome.
it.
So,
Yes.
but your dad also, maybe he was a bit progressive and understood that gambling is not only for degenerates, it's actually entertainment. And if you're good at it, you could actually do something with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just saw that I had a love for math, numbers, being competitive, and thought he'd put those two together. I don't think he saw a son that I guess was so competitive it would develop into a habit. But
It's his
that's
fault.
definitely what happened. He's not much of a gambler, didn't probably think I would be, but ended up becoming one from it.
It's just funny he fought the spread at 12 years old.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the funniest things I've heard forever. I went over to Coleman's Twitter page, and I was just kind of scrolling, watching some of his stuff because what he's doing right now is very interesting. And when I saw his science fair project tweet, I laughed out loud. It's just a kid standing with like Eddie, you know the 3-prong, how it's like the middle and it's like open like a cardboard thing, and it's him standing there next to it. You see the picture?
Yes. That's definitely a school project.
That's 12, and
Yes.
it's sports bet. That's awesome. So Coleman,
you,
you've
thank
always
you.
been a massive basketball guy, or has it been all sports all the time?
No, definitely basketball has been my main focus. Growing up, my dad was a high school basketball coach, so that certainly pulled me to basketball, but I love all sports for sure.
So here's how I got to know who Coleman was.
Come on.
I was sitting at Caitlin's parents' house. We were in Fort Gibson, and we were watching a Fort Gibson high school basketball game because that's what her dad likes to do. And so we were watching it. And what's your brother's first name, Coleman?
Cooper.
So Cooper's out, and they're playing like the number 5 team in the conference. It's like number 5 whomever, Fort Gibson, who big underdogs. And Cooper just is knocking them down. It's like three-pointer. And Cooper doesn't look like this crazy athlete. He just He's like a
Not.
normal guy, but all of a sudden Cooper like takes over the game with the shooting. And I'm like, God dang, look at this guy. And they go, well, his brother, Coleman, is into does sports and sports betting, and he's driving around to every mid-major watching every team, so he knows whenever it's time for March Madness who you should bet on.
Wow.
And I was like, tell me more. So I learned the whole thing, and I messaged Coleman, and I was like, bro, you got to tell me about this. So tell all of our listeners now, what are you in the process of doing when I talk about you're traveling around? Where are you traveling and why?
So the goal of what I'm doing is basically trying to find Cinderella before she's at the ball. So what started me on this journey was I didn't believe the small and mid majors were getting enough coverage. You know, they make these runs. You look at St. Peter's, makes a run to the Elite Eight last year in late March. I looked up the average attendance of each D1 school. St. Peter's averaged 526 people at their home games. Wow. Syracuse in the same state averaged 17,000 in the Carrier Dome. They didn't even make the NCAA tournament. So we have a high level of basketball being played that I believe is not getting enough recognition. And so I knew due to these low attendance numbers, man, I can get right behind the bench or right behind the goal, something like that, and get great footage of a really high level of basketball being played and hopefully shed more light on it beyond these teams in January and February before they make their run in March.
It's rare that someone does something original in a place where there almost is no originality. And that's, to me, like he found a niche that wasn't being focused on. And aside from just being interested, I was like, that's brilliant. This kid's way smarter than I am. And you're a kid. You're like, what, 11 now? Like, how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 26.
Yeah,
he's
right.
married, though, too, right?
You're married?
Yes, I am married.
And I asked that question. My wife would never let me drive to every game.
Right.
What does she say about this?
So she's actually in social media. So she does social media marketing for several companies. And when I originally told her idea, she was like, man, this is just so original. And she's known about my passion in college basketball for obviously the last several years. She thought this was something that I couldn't not do. So she is without a doubt my rock, gives me just the most irrational confidence to do something crazy like this. But she's come out with me on the road for 4 games, 3 days already. And then I actually had to come home to quit my job to pursue this full time. So I took a day off yesterday. I'd been to games for 27 straight days, and she'll hit the road with me for another week. So definitely will be great to spend time with her, but incredible to have her support. I couldn't do it without it.
If your dad was a basketball coach, and I'm going to be very intrusive here, how do you have money to even do this? Because it's not like you're coming from generations of wealth.
No, definitely not. My parents, both public school educators. So I worked in sales, and I was an employee benefits consultant working in sales. And so I kind of had this idea in my head. I developed it back in the summer and thought, okay, I'm going to work my butt off, try to get a decent amount of commission. We, get paid commission at the end of the year, and then use that commission to then kickstart these next 2 months. And hopefully I strike up enough engagement, enough eyeballs that someone sees that, man, I could use this guy full time with his grind, his knowledge of the game, things like that.
What to you, and this would be funny because this is how it would happen. You say full time, like what do you feel like would be good pay if someone were to hire you?
I mean, shoot, I don't know. Like to do this full time, I mean, $60K.
Okay. So if someone said, Coleman, I got $60K, I need you to travel to these games. It doesn't have to be mid-major. It can be because that's a big part of what you do. And I need you to do a podcast based on it. You would go, I'm in?
Yes. Yeah. Especially at $60K if I got expenses covered. If not, it would maybe need to be a little bit more. But I mean, even if this is something that I'm doing for the months of college basketball season, and then I've got another job when it's not college basketball season. I mean, I have loved this so much that I want this to be a part of what I do in my life.
He's so legit.
Yeah. And he loves it. Like you can tell he loves what he's doing. Like this is so inspiring.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bobby, to give your in-laws a shout out. To be honest, a person that gave me the confidence to do this was Tyler Parker. I gave him a call about 2 years ago. Was like, hey man, I made this. So kind of back to what kickstarted this whole thing. When COVID hit, I decided I'd done all this work to try to be a bracketologist like Joe Lunardi, basically predict what 68 teams will be in the field. Well, when we don't get an NCAA tournament, I was like, man, I've just done all this for nothing. I've got to put some use to it. So I made a fake selection show, put it out on YouTube, and then went through my fake 68 teams who would have won had we had a tournament, COVID not canceled it. So I had enough people reaching out saying that, man, you've got a talent in this, you should pursue this, that I called Tyler, and I just wanted to hear Tyler's story of his come up working for the Ringer and things like that. And he basically gave me the confidence to be like, yeah, dude, just because you're from Fort Gibson, you can do it. You've got a passion for it. You're knowledgeable. Just be who you are and you'll find a way. And so he was definitely an inspiration in initially kickstarting this.
So he's traveling around. Are you just in a car? Is that what you're just in the car going?
Yes, my Honda Accord's been very faithful to me.
And you did 27 days straight where you didn't come home?
Correct.
What? I mean, we tour, but we have a bus or a plane, and that's like 5 days.
Yeah, this is hard living.
And we're like, I'm so tired. 27 days in like Ramadas. You have a bunch of points now for like.
Yeah, I've been using no free ads, I guess, but hotels.com. And so I get a couple stamps for every time I stay somewhere. And then eventually after 10 stamps, get a free one. So that's kind of my point system.
Do you notice that some of these mid-majors, and this is your first year to do this, but
yes,
do you feel like some of the portal guys that come from bigger schools and they will drop down to a mid-major actually makes the mid-majors more competitive, especially going into a season like now, because it's some of the guys who maybe did not get a good shot, or they learned that they did not take full advantage of their opportunity at a bigger school?
Absolutely. I think there's a misconception that the portal is hurting the small and mid majors. Now, for those mediocre or below average small and mid majors that they had one particular player average 20 points a game and he decides, you know what, this team isn't good enough, I'm going to a power six. It's hurting those guys, the bottom of the mid and small major. But up at the top, if you look at, some of the schools that, for example, have gotten to keep all their players, no one's transferred. That experience, that continuity of playing together is such a huge advantage. And I think that's why we're seeing more upsets even now than in the past. And I think we'll continue to see more. And then to your point, you take an Iona, for example, that's got Rick Pitino, that's able to bring in these power six guys that maybe didn't love their previous destination, that, hey, let's dominate this small conference, get to the NCAA tournament. I definitely think there's been an advantage for the top of mid-major with the transfer portal.
Which school have you gone to that you go, dang, there's some real passion here? It may not be in the numbers, but just in the overall effort of the student body or the town you were impressed by?
East Tennessee State was really neat. So I went there. They're actually having a down year. They're one of the programs that were most impacted by COVID. They had a 30-win season in 2020. We're going to get a great seed in the NCAA tournament and then didn't get to play that tournament. They're having a down year this year. But I got to meet with their student section. They've got a group called Party Bucks and a group called Buck Wild, I think, that is basically trying to increase student engagement. It's based around mental health awareness and you mattering, having a place for someone to go and have a good time, spending time with their fellow classmates. So that was really neat to me to see an organization like that, people going out supporting their athletic team classmates. And I hope things like that are being started at other programs. That was a college that I was like, man, you guys are having a down year this year, but you're still coming out and supporting this way. That was very cool.
Who is it that you've seen and you go, dang, if they were in the Big 10, Big 12, SEC, they'd actually be just competing right now as is?
Man, that's a tough question. I would maybe say Marshall. So they've got a guy in Tavion Kinsey that's absolutely going to be a pro. He can shoot the ball from the perimeter, but is ridiculously athletic as well. Dan Toney is their coach. The Dan Toney's absolutely no offense. They put up 89 points in the game that I watched. Because of their scoring ability and ability to get hot from the perimeter. And then they've also got athleticism as well and size. I don't think anyone's wanting to see them in the NCAA tournament or would even want them in their conference like you asked in the Big Ten.
I mean, the guy knows. I never heard of some of these schools. And he's like, here's who's the third string guard.
Pretty amazing.
This is the coach's uncle. You played ball back in the day. How do you feel about, because I know what I heard about you playing ball, but how would you define your basketball playing career?
I was a shooter and that was about it. So yeah, if anyone needs a 26-year-old that's a complete defensive liability, but could spread the floor a little bit on offense, then I'd love to keep playing some college ball.
Yeah, I heard you could shoot the eyes out of a cat. Like he was that kind of shooter.
Wow.
It's a pretty good compliment from the Parker family over there. Well, listen, man, I'm rooting for you. If you guys want to follow him on Twitter, Sharp Shot Select. Wait, why that? What the heck is even that?
I just like alliteration. I don't know. Maybe it's my name, Coleman Crawley. I just thought, all right, and originally when I made that Twitter, it was supposed to be for gambling picks. So Sharp Shot Select, I thought was catchy.
What did your job say when you're like, yo, peace out. I'm going to go drive around and watch Southern Rhode Island Cousin University.
Yeah. My boss is an incredible man. He's been an incredible mentor. Mark Christensen is his name. And I knew I could just be transparent with him because he's always been nothing but transparent and honest with me. He was baffled, taken aback that I wanted to do this, but he's always known that I've been very passionate about sports, basketball in particular, college basketball. So as much as it stunned him, he saw kind of the passion in my voice and my eyes. And he allowed me to take a couple vacation weeks to pursue it and see if it was having success. So I really appreciated that. And then if I saw it having enough success that I had to let him know, hey, I'm quitting. So he was upset to lose me, but I was so grateful for his mentorship and allowing me to pursue it while keeping my job originally.
Pretty inspiring.
Yeah. Can I ask him a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey,
Absolutely.
Coleman. So how many pools have you won? Like how many March Madness pools have you won in your lifetime?
See, that's the thing. I feel like I'm not great in March Madness, and I feel like anyone could be great in March Madness. You know, you hear those stories of, someone's cousin won because they picked the teams based on color or whatever. So on occasion, I'll have a great year. But March Madness is just so unpredictable, and I feel like that's why we love it so much. You never know what's going to happen. So I haven't won many, Eddie.
Okay. All right.
If he would have said all, I'd have been like, you're full of crap.
I want to see this.
Yeah, it's always like Eddie's aunt's mailman who wins ours anyway.
My son won it last year.
Yeah, he was just picking
he
random.
doesn't know what he's doing. And also, too, like, are you a one bracket guy or you do multiple brackets?
No, I'm a one bracket guy. To be honest, I feel like it's shameful to do more than one bracket. It's like, well, my B bracket is doing terrific. Who cares?
Exactly. It's like having a fantasy football team, but you draft all the different players. Nobody cares.
Yes.
Like, want to hear
one of them's going to work out.
Yes.
If you do it that way.
If I do get in more than one bracket, I do the same exact bracket. One, so I can keep up with it, and two, because I'm not a chump. Basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys are passionate about this one. All right.
All right, Coleman Crawley. You guys go on Twitter, Sharp Shot Select. On Instagram, Coleman13 Crawley. Is that your basketball number?
Yeah.
You hold on to that?
Family number.
Okay, family number. Look, we'd love to talk to you again as basketball gets closer and closer to March. Just, man, keep grinding. That's it.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of people with talent, but it's how they use it. And there's a lot of people without a whole lot of talent that use it in such a way that they're just undeniable. And you're very talented, very smart guy, but just grind. I know right now we're talking to a guy he's going to be five years from now. He's going to be running the thing. This is awesome. All right, Coleman, good to talk to you, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon, buddy.
Thank you so much, Bobby, for this opportunity. I greatly appreciate it.
All right, Coleman, see you, man.